My father tried to sell my dog while I was at work, so I moved out and took everything I owned. I've always had a complicated relationship with my dad. To be blunt, he's selfish, controlling, and has a history of acting like my belongings and my life are his to manage. Ever since I was a kid, he treated me less like his child and more like an inconvenience. When I was 8, he donated my bike to his friend's kid without even asking me. His excuse? You weren't riding it enough. The truth was, I rode it every day until he gave it away. When I cried about it, he told me, "Stop being dramatic, you'll get over it." At 12, he sold my gaming console and all my games for a fraction of their value because he wanted beer money for a weekend trip with his buddies. He justified it by saying video games were rotting my brain and I should be grateful he was helping me. When I got my first job at 16, he constantly borrowed money from me without paying it back. If I confronted him, he'd twist it into me being ungrateful and selfish for not wanting to help my own father. As an adult, things didn't get much better. I moved back in with my parents temporarily after a breakup to save money. I paid rent, bought my own groceries, and even chipped in for utilities. But my dad still acted like he owned everything in my room. If I got a package delivered, he'd open it without asking. If friends dropped by, he'd snoop in my stuff, pretending he was looking for the remote. Now, I've always been a dog lover, and my current dog, Max, is the most important thing in my life. He's a rescue, half Labrador, half chaos, and I've had him for 4 years. He's helped me through depression, heartbreak, and stress. My dad always pretended to like him, but I caught little comments, "Dogs are too much trouble," or "He's a waste of money." I never thought he'd actually act on it. I was wrong. One afternoon, I came home from work, and Max wasn't there to greet me. He's always waiting by the door. My dad was sitting in the living room, acting like nothing was wrong. I asked where Max was, and he casually said, "Oh, a guy came by earlier. I told him we'd sell the dog for $200. He'll be back tonight with the cash." I froze. I honestly thought he was joking, but the smirk on his face told me otherwise. My chest felt like it was going to explode. I demanded to know what he meant, and he shrugged, saying, "You're at work all day. The dog needs someone who can actually give him attention. Plus, think about the money." I told him he had no right to do that. It wasn't his dog. He rolled his eyes and hit me with, "You live in my house, so everything in it is mine, including that mutt." That was it. I saw red. I grabbed Max's leash, went into my room, and started packing. My dad followed me, ranting about how I was being immature and overreacting over just a dog. He even tried to block my door at one point, saying I couldn't just leave without giving proper notice. I ignored him, called a friend, and asked if I could crash at her place for a bit. While I waited for her to come, I systematically packed every single item I owned. Furniture, clothes, electronics, kitchenware, everything I had brought into that house. My dad kept yelling, saying things like, "You're abandoning your family for a dog? No wonder your relationships never work out. You're too attached to useless things. You'll be back in a week when you realize you can't make it without me." The gaslighting was exhausting. He kept trying to twist it into me being ungrateful, irresponsible, and dramatic. But I kept packing. When my friend arrived, I loaded everything into her truck and my car. The last thing I took was Max, who had been glued to my side the entire time, tail low and ears back. My dad stood in the doorway, arms crossed, glaring. Before I left, I turned to him and said, "You'll never see Max again, and you'll never get a cent from me again." He started yelling as I shut the door behind me, but I didn't look back. In the weeks that followed, I made sure my dad couldn't use me as his personal ATM anymore. I blocked him on everything. I stopped sending money, and since I'd been helping with groceries and utilities, my mom, who enables him but isn't as openly cruel, had to cover the shortfall herself, something she wasn't thrilled about. For a while, I thought I was finally free. Then, last Friday, I got a letter in the mail. Apparently my dad is suing me for stealing his property. Full story on channel, link below.